Welcome back to the MetaMinds podcast, where we are all about relentless self-development
and consciousness optimization.
And today we have Emma, who is a forward thinker, environmental activist, and flow artist, among many other things. And we're going to be diving deep on a couple of different topics today. But first, I would love to know a little bit about your lifestyle, because it's quite unique, and why you live that way. Can you tell us a little bit about? It makes it sound like you're so different to everyone else, doesn't it? But can you tell us a little bit about your lifestyle, Emma?
I pretty much just try to live a conscious lifestyle. So just being aware of all my actions in my life. So from what I buy, food-wise, where I buy it. I try to eat a very plant-based, ethical diet. So I normally go to small little markets and buy my fruit and veggies directly from the farmers. And just eat a range of products from a range of different areas on the Sunshine Coast. And I just try to focus on limiting my plastic usage and also vehicle usage. So I only use my vehicle to get to work, whereas I ride my bicycle for entertainment and fun. And so going to the beach, going surfing, catching up with friends for drinks. I like to spend my time outside in nature rather than inside watching anything.
No Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
Not even Netflix.
What's going on? Are you sure you're a millennial?
I do watch it from time to time.
Yeah.
Was that a gradual change that happened, or was that?
Yeah. Very.
So can you think of the first early stages that helped you think that way or want to change?
Well, to get away from, say, electronics is sort of the last thing, or the vehicle is actually the last thing I've sort of been trying to give up more. And that was moving less from out in the country into a town again and being able to get out on my bike. Before that, I had my total electronics failure, laptop and phone died. And that suddenly was, okay, I'm not watching anything anymore. I'm going to read books. I suddenly have more time to do yoga and meditation. I'm like, wait, all this time existed all along. And so that was the push away from that. But I think just being healthier and more active has started me on this lifestyle. And that started with festivals.
I'm sure we'll dive into that as well.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting, you're right in the fact that it's the time existed all along, and you don't realize that until you start, either things get taken away from you or you start to take things away. And you realize that, it's all in your own head. You choose everything that kind of happens to
Totally.
you.
Yeah.
And you start to feel so much better when you're spending more time out in the sun and, spending more time. It's so funny, this movement of earthing. And it's the amount of times I've heard people being like, oh, yeah, are you into earthing? And it's oh, you mean going outside with my shoes off? Yes, I'm into that.
That's a lie. That's not a term.
It shouldn't be this term that, anyway, it's interesting that we're so far, it's obviously a side effect of society that we're so far into this lifestyle that we have to put a term on this thing that means going outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've definitely noticed, if I'm inside for any period of time, I just get a bit of a headache and just feel a bit unwell. And I'm like, wait a second, it's because I've been inside in an artificial environment. Go outside for literally 10 minutes and suddenly headache's gone, feel great again.
Yeah.
It's just... I think we all must feel that way somewhat, but we put it on the back burner, focusing no, I've got to be doing this online, or it's how you normally feel, right?
Or there's so much in our lifestyle that doesn't allow us to actually recognize that. Whereas I think for myself, when I've started to live a more conscious kind of lifestyle and being more active, eating more healthy foods, that I have a much more acute sense of these things, you know? Yep. So I feel this way. Why do I feel this way? Oh, it's probably because of this, whether it's being inside for too long or looking at a screen for too long or whatever. Reconnecting with your actual natural kind of urges, when you're doing more of those habits, it's more easy to recognize where those things come from, I find.
Absolutely, yeah.
So another interesting thing.
You're just paying more attention to everything.
Yeah.
It's not being unconscious. It's just that's, okay, I wake up in the morning, look at my phone, drive to work, get to work, look at a screen, get back in the car, drive home, put on a screen. You're just so muted. You become a bit of a zombie. And you're not paying attention to what makes you feel bad because you just assume everything out there makes you sick. And that cop-out statement, oh, well, everything gives you cancer, so why should I make an effort? And it's just you shouldn't feel unwell. You should feel great. You should have energy.
Yeah.
It's you might be tired of finished work after doing a 12-hour day and have a friend from work just hey, just want to quickly climb this mountain up the road? Not big mountains, but they're do you just want to climb a mountain? It's just yeah, actually, I've got the energy for that. Why not? Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like that should be a normal energy level.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess it is conditioned in society now to not really explore these other opportunities, right? Like it's more like mediated by a phone, and you connect with people through a phone. Like you said, you go from one transition of being on your phone in the morning to getting in the car to then literally getting on a computer for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, where is that interaction with humans, firstly?
Yeah. Yep.
And where is that connection with yourself and the world as a whole? Like, it's probably completely gone for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
a scary thought.
Yeah, really interesting that you've taken, you know, like a completely different perspective on it. Like, and you're taking this whole new path.
Yeah.
So was there was there a breaking point or something that made you think like I need to change, or was it just like you said it was a progression?
Yeah, I think it was progression. I noticed early on when I was still a teenager that I was ultimately just unhappy. I didn't know what I was lacking, but I knew some change needed to happen. And my older brother, I see him from time to time, and he would tell me these funny stories of these festivals he goes to, and then because of that he's getting out in nature more, and I'm like, he seems like a happy guy. I'm gonna try what he's trying. Like I'm gonna go give that a go. So I hit him up, and he took me to my first festival, and instantly from that moment I'm like, what is this? Like everyone's outside, everyone's happy, everyone's barefoot, embracing life, and there's no sort of negativity. There's no sort of, you didn't feel unsafe at all. It was just peaceful. And I was like, wow, if a group of people this large can be so peaceful in such what from the outside looks like a very chaotic environment, but once you're in it, it's so harmonious. And I just was like, how can I be like this more often? What are they doing that I'm not? And so just through conversation, I learned, okay, they're eating well, they're caring for the environment, they're just focusing on positive things like dancing and connecting with people. And I think that was the first sort of step. I was just like, okay, that's the seeds fully put in. They're germinating. I'm going to pursue this.
And it's funny because like modern music festivals as such, it's the same as like, you know, our tribal days where we would just have an animal skin over a drum, and we would be beating that and stomping our feet, and there would be a fire, and we'd be drinking whatever ale that we would have, and just celebrating with a big meal if we, you know, got that day or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's just that, but we've got a little bit more technology, you know?
Yeah, we're just using the technological advances we've got to enhance all of those classic traditional things.
And it's funny because actually our last guest, we talked about connection quite deeply and how a lot of it is lost. And it's so interesting because I've been to a lot of music festivals myself where you do refine that connection, and it's so, it just comes with an okayness. Like, for example, how we met, basically.
Yeah.
You actually came up to me and told me, because when I was playing like my DJ set, I gave out like a bag of lollies or whatever, which I just had on my shelf, and they were individually wrapped in plastic. And Emma actually came up to me and told me, hey man, you shouldn't be giving out these individual plastics, because then I've had to pick some up, because obviously people are in a festival, they don't care to be like looking where they're dropping them, that kind of thing.
Not the lack of care, because it's a very conscious group of people at these parties. They're partying, it falls out of their pocket.
Yeah.
So a bit of a lack of accountability on their part, but like, as I said to Amy when I first met him, I'm like, great idea, like, that's awesome, you're bringing people together, you're sharing something, but here's one step closer. If you can't get something that's not individually plastic wrapped, at least unwrap it yourself. And then, so you're doing the extra steps. Just like these companies with all their products, they should be making them biodegradable, because you can't trust people are going to do the right thing. But yeah, that's how we
and then you were like, why isn't it fruit, for example? You know, and I obviously didn't put any thought into it at all. I was like, oh, of course, that's a fantastic idea. Imagine handing out bananas or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like, to comment on that scene, you know, in a normal everyday life, if you went up to someone in the street in the city and be like, hey, you should probably pick that up because you're not doing good things for the environment, they would say some very mean things to you. And then you would both go on your way having shared a negative experience.
Exactly.
And so my ego could have reacted to you being like, oh, go away, who are you? But instead I was like, oh, of course, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because that environment fostered that kind of...
It's a safe environment about having a conversation about it. Because I could have gone up to Eamon straight away and just been like, hey dude, what you're doing is wrong, stop it. And you would have been like, whoa, like, I'm just trying to do a nice thing here. And you would have instantly written me off, not wanting to have conversation. But it's just like, you catch more bees with honey than with vinegar. So, you know,
That's it. And it comes down to effective communication then, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were talking for like 2 hours on that point.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
And then it was dark, and we were like, we need to get some more clothes on because it's cold. And we're missing the music. What's happening? Kind of thing.
And ever since then, it's been like, hey.
Yeah. Seen each other at like 10 festivals since or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because, back to the connection thing, I'm drawn to these festivals because it's like, it's more rare than it should be, you know, like not the celebration element, but the connection element.
Yeah, the community element as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so whenever there is a festival on, like, I'm there, whether I'm on the media team or just attending kind of thing. Like, yeah.
And it gets to a point, like, it's not even about, like, what music's playing, potentially.
Yes.
You go on for the community and the vibe, just the people. Like, my brother, when I first went to one, he's just like, I'm not too big on the music. I just go just for the people. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then I love the music. So that's pretty good for me. Yeah.
Can we dive a little bit deeper into that? You're into psytrance, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is it about?
I love it.
What is it about psytrance that you love?
It's the energy behind it. It's designed to make you think more, and it's so it's played generally. Psytrance is at 145 beats per minute, and that like that vibration resonates in the brain with like energy and connection and just harmony. And so when you can go to a psytrance party, and it might be a 3-day long party, but like you can do it, like most people I know, well, I wouldn't say most, a lot of people I know are completely sober, including myself on some of these parties. And as you go there and you dance and you come away from the dance floor energized, you're like, oh, okay, I feel great. You might be a little bit tired, you know, you might have been dancing for a few hours. You go, have a good night's sleep, have a breakfast, go out, dance again. And I'll leave those parties. I'll go home, then go to work and be more energized. It's like I've just been meditating for the whole weekend. And I heard this story once of this person. They took like a Buddhist monk to an Aussie bush doof. And, you know, he had a bit of like what's this music? What's going on? And then he just observed the dance floor from afar and just realized everyone's meditating. It's that constant beat gets you in that mindset. And you just, it's chaos and harmony on the dance floor. It's just everyone's moving completely free of themselves. And everything just, like, everyone ebbs and flows. Like, no one bumps into each other. And if you do, you don't even have to notice, and you already have adjusted to them being there. So, yeah, it's the way that music particularly makes me dance and how I feel. That's why I love it.
Yeah. And it's, crazy just to build on what you're saying there. I think I've just forgotten what I had, and then you kept talking and I was interested.
I could talk all day about psytrance.
Yeah. And we've had many times.
Yes, we have. Quite. I've even shared some things with you.
Yeah, right. So is there like scientific evidence behind that as well? Like the vibration within the brain, or what are we talking there?
I'll be honest, I haven't read peer-reviewed studies on this, but there is a lot of scientific backing with vibrations and how it affects the brain.
Yeah. Because people obviously connect with music on different levels, and people have interests for whatever reason, and their brains obviously react in a certain way. But it's interesting that you say that it kind of puts people into that meditative state.
Yeah.
Do you find that you have that even if you're just listening to it outside of that festival experience?
Absolutely.
Right.
Like, to begin with, when I started listening to it in my own time rather than just at the festivals, I was sort of a bit like, oh, you know, it doesn't really have the setting. It just is the music. And then I just started thinking and associating it with the happy, fun memories I've had on the dance floor, the great connections I've made on those dance floors. And then that started me loving it more and more. And so even now, if I want to get something done, like I want to clean the house, I want to do something, psytrance instantly puts me into that state of mind, and I just get any task done. Like I used to work in a restaurant, and when we were closing, I would put the psytrance on, and we were all just suddenly like so much more efficient than we ever were. We're like cleaning at 145 beats per minute, you know, like
that would be quite efficient.
There you go. For all those businesses out there, that could be an efficiency model.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was gonna try write a manual on that. But, but I even asked the staff. I was like, "Do you guys want to listen to music that's going to get this done quicker?" And they all went, "Yep." I don't even think some of them really liked it, but they liked that it got them home earlier. So.
I like the way you frame that as well, back to the communication thing. It's like, frame it with this positive kind of way, and everyone's going to obviously be like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's all about mindset when it comes to that. Like, I think being positive is like being patient. you can't just be patient once and then you're suddenly patient. You have to work on it every day. That's the same with being positive, and it's the same with like forgiving. If you forgive someone once, doesn't mean you're forgiving them all the time. So it's just like living that lifestyle. So it's an everyday practice of positivity. And now to a point, like I drive to work and I see the sun coming up over the ocean, and like I'm just blown away. Every sunset, every sunrise is like a new sunrise. Like I've never seen it before, and I'm like, thanks. I have another wonderful day to experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like when I had my laptop and my phone die, at the same time I had my car break down, and to most people that would be like, oh, that's so negative. Like it's happened, 3 things have happened. Like, you must be like, do you want to go grab a drink or something? But I just saw instantly, I just went, oh, what, like, okay, I've got to figure this out. Okay, this is just a test. How is the universe testing me? Like, what am I meant to learn from this? So it was like patience, resourcefulness, being able to ask for help and, you know, receiving that help. And that forced me to then ride my bike to work. And that was amazing because it was like country roads. So sunrise, trees, birds, horses. And then that also got me into more meditation yoga because then I lost that electronic entertainment.
Ripple effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes back to what we started with, which is awareness of everything, basically.
Yeah, awareness.
And when you have intense awareness, which, you know, some days I don't, some days I find myself with it, then when you recognize things like a really cool shaped cloud or a sun, whether it's at the start of the day or at the end of the day, or if you're just sitting outside, like in the sun, and you're like, oh my God, this feels so amazing kind of thing, like really paying attention to that thing can be very profound, you know, when you're intensely present. And I find that is actually the real spice of life when I find myself in those moments, which are actually rarer than they should be. And you know, I actually do put a bit of practice into trying to get to those states kind of thing, you know? So I mean, for people that don't practice these things, it's like, again, they're potentially in that lifestyle that we were talking about earlier on. So they might not even get any moments like that during the day where it's like, holy crap, look at this sun, it's rising. And it's this huge red thing that's like however many, you know?
Yeah. But it's like there's wonderful, beautiful, positive things in everything. Like I personally, not the biggest fan of cities. I just almost feel a little bit claustrophobic in them just because I'm so used to living out on the sunny coast where it's just country roads, trees, forests, waterfalls, beach everywhere. But when I come into the city and I see the sunlight coming on, like the sunset and the lights it all up and everything's sparkling, like that's beautiful. That's incredible. And it's also like, you know, we can do so much with our intelligence and our resources. If we direct it in the right way, we're just going to keep like improving and think of the world we're going to live in when we're doing everything sustainably, which we're totally capable of, and we're on the cusp of doing it completely. So it's just like, even if someone is just getting up, getting in the car, driving to work on another computer, coming home, doing the same, they can still find that appreciation. It's just a matter of choosing to do it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even if like they played on the radios, you know, people is tuning out to a radio, just have the presenter say, look out the window and watch something beautiful. And someone just go, oh, right. Oh, look, there's one tree over there. Cool. I can dig it. It just starts with that simple tree, I think.
But the other thing is we're so bombarded with things in this instant gratification world that it's just a tree, you know. Like to the average soul, it's nothing exciting. I've seen a tree before, you know. But as you said, to recognize the actual beauty of what what that,
and you can find beauty in pretty much anything. And it's that whole idea of being grateful, like you were saying, for these processes that to some people can just be mundane, and for these people they may not find any joy in their day.
True.
But the reality is, like, you can change that. Like, you do have a choice in that shift. So even if you don't like your job, you can still be thankful that you get to go home and see your family, or you can listen to a podcast on the drive, or whatever. Metaminds. There you go. And you can be grateful for that. So it really is a shift. But again, I think it is a habitual thing that you need to keep doing, and you will never be 100%, you know, grateful for everything. It is a practice. You have to keep doing it and keep setting your mind kind of aligned with you know, things in your life.
Absolutely.
Speak for yourself. I'm woke all the time.
Oh man, always woke.
So to shift gears a little bit, you told us that you're moving overseas indefinitely. Can you tell us a little bit about what sparked that and why you're going on this journey?
So I've always been interested in traveling. I did my first overseas trip a few years ago to Nepal, I went on my own and just decided, like, let's challenge myself. Let's go to a place. Let's go on my own. I'm not going to wait on others to come with me. And so that sort of sparked it. And then I went on another trip, and I just wanted to be overseas for my birthday pretty much. And found out about a flow festival in Malaysia. So I was like, all right, off to Malaysia I go. And so yeah, I just sort of did a travel, and with the flow arts, which is something I've learnt at the festival, like the doof scene in Australia. And I've always been more interested in long-term travel. We live in such a beautiful planet with so much to see. There's literally not enough time. Yeah, so diverse. All the cultures, the language, the food, the animals, the plants.
Yeah,
just everything. And I want to gain a bigger knowledge. Like, I don't want to just have experienced the Australian culture. I can't feel like I would never be sort of complete, but I can't say I've experienced everything if I just stay where I'm comfortable and what I know. Like, I'm about to walk, like I have 8 days left of work at a job I absolutely love. I'm leaving a beautiful part of the world, my favourite place in Australia, the Sunshine Coast. And I'm also leaving a lot of really good friends. Like, I've made myself a really great, community around myself.
And your cat.
And my cat, which I just gave up today. So that's a little bit sad. But, as a journey, things change.
Pushing yourself.
Yeah, and so I just sort of realised, I've gotten really comfortable here. Things are great. I need to challenge myself again. And so I'm, throwing it all in to go head to Romania in 2 weeks to go to a Psytrance festival. So that's another thing that's getting me to travel, is to experience it around the world, because Psytrance is actually built upon a community. It's people bring their parents, people bring their children to these festivals. It's a community-run event. And so, yeah, I'm just seeking a new experience, diversify my knowledge, and then, and just try connecting with my fellow human a bit more and trusting them more in hitchhiking and just word of mouth, like doing things cheaply, not trying to stay in hotels and hostels, and just going out there and seeing what's what, trusting people's word and experiencing it for myself. And I thought, I'm young, I can do work visas, go now, get it done.
And it's funny because, 20 or 30 years ago, you'd have to be quite wealthy to be able to go anywhere, but now go anywhere in the world for less than $1,000 almost, basically one way.
But also, having just $1,000 to go do that, and the chance that you don't have any responsibilities, it means you're wealthy. Like, compared to the majority of the world, we're very wealthy. I'm going to be doing it with a very small bank account, but that's also a comfort zone, is having a large bank account. It's knowing it's always going to be okay. If you go with a smaller amount, that tests yourself. It challenges you to seek new things, seek new experiences and environments to allow for that. So, you have a bit more of a humbling experience when you're doing it humbly. Like, you're not trying to live extravagantly.
Well, it would scare the hell out of a lot of people. It sounds like it's, obviously a little bit scary for yourself as well, which is why it's going to be fantastic, and I'm sure you'll grow and learn a lot. And perhaps if we link up in Europe, then we can shoot another podcast for just see what you've already learned.
How far we've come.
Yeah, if you're still alive at all.
Yeah, well.
I mean. So,
Well, hopefully I am.
Yeah. That's all.
Didn't think dying was
send
an
positive mantras to So, you've obviously got a bit of a plan for what you're doing in your immediate future, but do you have any larger life goals that you would either like to accomplish for yourself or for the world that you could contribute?
Yeah. So at the moment I'm in the nursery industry, so I'm growing plants for a living, growing flowers. And so getting more involved with horticulture, and ultimately I want to get a lot more involved with permaculture. So sustainable production of food pretty much for the world. Obviously on a smaller scale, on a community scale. So that will be along the track. Like when I get to Amsterdam, I want to work on some of the nurseries around there and get a bigger knowledge. And I've heard some really nice ones in Scandinavia, so through Sweden and Norway, that I'd like to find my way there eventually. But yeah, I just want to get a better grasp on that. But I see myself eventually ending up in politics. I can't stop thinking about everything I'm doing is sort of helping me in the long run of learning, and I just see what's going on at the moment in the current state, and you're just like, someone please stand up and do something.
Yeah.
Please. And
especially in Australia. For those
Yes.
that don't know, that aren't from Australia, our political system is so bad right now. So
And do you see yourself wanting to do work within the political world in Australia or somewhere else?
in Australia,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of borders and this is this country, that country, we're all on the same planet together. But obviously we have to do it at the levels that we've got it at currently. But I'll definitely see myself returning to Australia in X amount of years to do that. And I don't think I'd be perfect for the job, but I feel like I can do a lot better than some of the current elected members of parliament and unelected, the backbenchers and
it's interesting what's going on right now. I think Labor had us not to get too deep into politics, but had us at one of the top rankings in the world in terms of a global. I'm just going to butcher it completely here, but either way, the Liberal government, who has just been elected for a second time, has got us down to 113th.
Yep.
I think Syria is above us, and so many countries are above us, which is laughable. It's not funny, but it's really sad that it can just be so quickly. You accept a few bribes to build a few mines in your country, and all of a sudden your country's in a huge deficit, and everyone's going to be very poor very soon, basically.
Yeah. So that's very concerning. It's at a point now, with the current mine they're about to open, they've just been past the Adani coal mine, the Carmichael mine. That is not only going to destroy our environment here, that is a key essential part of the water for the whole earth. It's not a matter of this little country, it's the whole world needs to come together and fix that problem. We need to stop being so isolated with our issues, but you've got to work within your own communities to get awareness, so then you can spread it to the world. So it's got to start somewhere.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up. I think if there's anyone out there that is potentially looking to lead a bit more of a conscious lifestyle or make some sort of a difference in any of the topics that we've chatted about today, what kind of starting points or hot tips would you give to those people?
Get curious. Ask the question. If you don't know who to direct the question at, just simple as using that technology you've got, Google it, seek that information, go to meetings, contact your local Green Senator if you want information on that, or just get out there, look at a tree.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Use less plastic.
Yeah.
Go vegan.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Emma. I'm sure we'll have you on again in the future.
Cool.
And good luck on your travels. Hopefully you stay alive.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you very much for having me.